In a medical malpractice case, what does it mean to use a hired gun? And should you be using a hired gun in a medical malpractice case? Would you like to know the answer? Come join me for a walk near the beach as I share with you the answer to that question. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. A hired gun is a medical expert for hire. That's what it really means. A hired gun implies that this expert will basically say anything based upon whoever is paying him. That's what the implication is. It has a derogatory implication, which means that when somebody says, oh, they have a hired gun, they're really saying they just found somebody to say whatever it is that they wanted him to say because he's receiving a fee from this lawyer. Being known as a hired gun is not a good reputation for a medical expert in a medical malpractice case. It's not. You don't want to have that type of reputation. A medical expert wants to have a reputation that they are unbiased, that they are well-credentialed, that they are a good expert, meaning that they evaluate all the evidence and all the testimony fairly and reasonably, and they don't give their opinions based upon who is paying them. As an attorney who represents injured patients on a daily basis, I will tell you, I don't want a hired gun to evaluate my client's case. I don't want to hire somebody who simply goes ahead and agrees with every part of our claim simply because I'm giving him a check for his fee. I don't want that. Would you like to know why? I'll tell you why. It's because I want an expert who is unbiased, who is impartial, who's going to give me the same opinion regardless of who hires him. I want an honest answer from my expert. I want to know the good things about my case, and importantly, I want to know the bad things, the pitfalls about my case. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to make sure that we have a good, valid case. I want to make sure that any weaknesses in our case are identified early on. I want to know where the pitfalls are so that I can address them now, because I know exactly what the defense is going to say and what they're going to argue. And I want to know if there's any way that I can overcome those objections. If my expert, as a hired gun, just comes in and gives me answers that I want to hear, and gives me answers that are favorable to us without explaining how and why my client has a valid case, that's not what I want. And that's not what I want from my clients. And importantly, as the case progresses, it will become quite clear that we have major problems with our expert. In New York, we are required to have a medical expert review and confirm that you have a valid basis for a case. We have to show that your doctor or hospital staff violated the basic standards of medical care. And those violations, those departures from the standard of care, were a cause of your injuries, and that your injuries are significant and or permanent. Without having a medical expert confirm each of those things, we are prohibited from bringing a lawsuit on your behalf in New York. So at the very outset, not only do I want to determine whether or not you have a valid basis for a case, because that is the trigger that will then allow us to go ahead and start a case on your behalf, but I want to know where the pitfalls are. I want to know exactly what the problems are. If my expert comes back and tells me, I'm sorry, you don't have a case, then the first thing I'm going to do is to call you up and tell you, I'm sorry, we don't have a case, I can't help you. As an attorney in New York, I have an ethical obligation to let you know what our expert has had to say. And if he tells us you do not have a valid basis for a case, I cannot ethically go ahead and start a case, hoping to try and squeeze money out of the doctor. Why? Because we don't have a valid basis to do so. And our expert does not support our claims. So a hired gun, the implication is that we hire somebody simply to say, yes, there's a good case here, when in fact, we may not. The reality is, I don't want to use a hired gun. I want somebody who is unbiased, so now when he has to testify at trial, he can now give his unbiased opinion and explain how that there are problems with the case. However, it's quite obvious that the doctor departed from the standard of care despite whatever weaknesses we have in the case. A hired gun, on the other hand, sticks to his opinion regardless of what the evidence and the testimony is, and regardless of the obvious conclusions and obvious nature that he's wrong. And he's doing that for the purposes of earning a fee. That is not somebody who I ever want to hire. Instead, I want to go ahead and hire a very well-qualified medical expert whose credentials cannot be impeached and now gives us a proper opinion, a fair opinion, and ideally, when he gets up to testify, he should be able to say, listen, this is the same opinion I'd be giving to the defense. Here's my opinion, here's why I believe that this doctor violated the standard of care, and now here's why this patient suffered the following injuries. That's the type of expert we want. Not some hired gun who comes in and says, okay, give me a check for $10,000, I'll say anything you want. That is not what we want. So why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you just to open your eyes to help you understand how medical malpractice cases work in the state of New York. You know, I realize you're likely watching this video because you wanted to see the beautiful scenery. No, I realize you're not here for the scenery. I'm here in St. Martin on Coralita Beach. My wife is picking seashells, and I have a few minutes to share this great information with you. I realize you likely have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if you have not yet started a lawsuit and your matter happened in New York and still need answers to your questions, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. You know, I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a fantastic day.